Hey everybody, welcome back. When I was 16 years old, I got asked to speak in front of my entire high school, and there was about 1,000 students, and I had labored the whole night before on this entire script. It was probably a 10-minute presentation. And I remember right before I got up on the stage, one of my teachers, she came up to me, she took my script from me, and she said, "Go and speak from the heart." Now, why am I telling you this horrifying story of me getting thrown up on a platform? Free Willy. Free Willy's not the right word. But it was also the moment that I found my passion for public speaking. I'm telling you this story because so many of us have absolutely no idea what we want to do with our lives. And in this video, what I can guarantee you is we're going to talk about how to actually discover your passions, what to do with your passions when you find them, and why it is absolutely crucial for you to continue to keep your passions alive. Today, this evening, or whatever time you're watching this video, we're going to be reviewing a book called The Element by Ken Robinson. And it is a brilliant book, and that's why we're reviewing it today. But anyways, if you want to learn more about your passions, if you want to discover your creative gifting, if you want to learn how to have more imagination, feel free to subscribe to this channel. I post a video every single week talking about creativity, reviewing a book on creativity, all things when it comes to creativity. So feel free to subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Now, to the point that we're going to be covering, the first point, which is how do we actually discover our passions? What does it actually look like? Now to begin, to find your passion, he describes your passion as your element, the factor in your life that not only combines the things that you love, but also the aptitude that you have for those things. The kind of Venn diagram, the overlap. If you don't know what a Venn diagram is, check this out right here. God bless Venn diagrams. If this was a Venn diagram, this would be your aptitude, your kind of natural talent towards something, and your love for that thing. Now, it's one thing to say, oh, it's easy, Daniel. It's just finding the things that you love and the things that you're really talented at. No biggie. But here's the thing about finding the element, the thing that you are super passionate about. It's oftentimes quite elusive. Again, to the story of my younger self, my 16-year-old self, I didn't actually know that I had a passion for public speaking until someone gave me the boot and kicked me out on the platform and said, speak from the heart. Perhaps for you, it's how do you create from the heart? But in order to speak from the heart, you have to identify what Dr. Robinson, he identifies as the zone. Other people like Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he calls this a flow state, which tune in the next couple of videos. I'm going to be reviewing that book, Flow by Mihaly, brother Csikszentmihalyi, love him. But this space called the zone, you know that you've entered into it when the activity that you are engaging in becomes autotelic. I got a little Aussie there. When it becomes autotelic, and what I mean by autotelic is when the act itself becomes the means to an end. So for example, if you love dancing, there isn't a reason why you dance. It's that you enjoy the process of dancing itself. And so the means becomes the end. Whatever it is where you find yourself losing track of time, that's a key phrase when it comes to the zone or a flow state, is you completely have a disregard for how long you've spent actually doing the thing because you are so entranced by the activity itself, the creative activity, that you realize, wait a second, I was made for this. But okay, let's assume that you found that thing, that passion. You go, okay, this is something that I actually think I'm really good at, but also it brings me a tremendous amount of joy that I do it. I completely lose track of time. How do you make the leap between, oh my gosh, this thing is terrifying, to wait a second, I was made for this? And you know how you leap? You leap with both feet. You jump headlong, head first into the thing. And this is kind of the second point. What do you do with your passions once you have found them? Once you've identified your passions, you have to recognize that, like anything in life, creativity is a muscle. Once again, we have to dispel the idea that creativity is only for the elect few. It's only for the lucky ones. No, creativity is for those who are willing to draw unique solutions to complex problems. You then have to understand that creativity is just a muscle, and you gotta work that thing out. That's terrible. You gotta work the muscle. You gotta make it work for you. And what I mean by that is you actually have to put in the time, the hours and hours of effort to actually tease out the passion, to understand what it is within that passion that you are so dedicated towards. There is one more crucial aspect to actually cultivating your passions within yourself. And that thing is that you have to believe that you are the kind of person who is going to succeed. And I know we've talked about this ad nauseum in other videos, linked below, obviously. But you have to dispel the doubts that you aren't going to be successful. You have to dispel the doubts that you're not going to create anything good. Because at the end of the day, those who create excellent things are those who believe that they can create excellent things. And the only way that you really dispel the doubt is by doing the work. Again, when we think of confidence, we think of someone touting off what they know and why they know it. But really, confidence is the experience that you have gained through repetition. And so it all kind of builds on itself. So when you've discovered your passion, first and foremost is you have to actually recognize that creativity is something that you exercise. It's a muscle. But then at a foundational level, you have to believe that you are the kind of person that creates excellent work. Okay, so once you've found your passion through recognizing those flow state moments, and then once you've exercised that passion with the hard work of believing in yourself and actually putting in the hard work, then finally you have to ask the question, why does it actually matter to keep your passion alive? And the simple answer to this kind of a question is this. When you keep your passions alive, you realize that life is unbelievably beautiful. And within that recognition that life is unbelievably beautiful, you live it to the absolute fullest of your extent. And to live your life to the fullest of your extent each and every day is to live a life where you minimize regret. I love what Brené Brown says. She says, a life without regret isn't a life without mistakes. A life without regret is a life without reflection. And what she means by that, hold on, there's a bug. Hold on a second. I'm quoting Brené. That is to say, we're all going to make mistakes in our life. We're all going to look back and have regrets. But what happens when you live a life where you keep your passions alive? What you do is you are minimizing those regrets. You're creating things with your hands. You're inventing things with your minds, and you're bringing things to life with your heart. And you're saying, this is why I was made. And I'll end with this story. I think this story is unbelievable. And it's in 2005, Death Valley. It's one of the hottest places on earth. It doesn't get a lot of rain. It rained over 7 inches, and the unbelievable happened. I'll put a photo on the screen. But Death Valley, this place that was barren, this place that no one thought anything could grow, it sprouted up with vegetation, with different flowers and tulips and things like that, and it was gorgeous. Photographers, they flocked to it, rightfully so. But the same is true within our own lives and our creativity. We think oftentimes that we'll never find our passions, that there's always going to be this barrenness that we have. But really, all we need to do is look within ourselves and recognize that we have so much more underneath the surface than we give ourselves credit towards. And then once we've done that, we live a life where we emphasize the passions that we have in our hearts, the element, that thing that combines our love and our aptitude. When we find that thing, we enter into a flow state, we keep the fire stoked. We live a life where we minimize our regret. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, feel free to subscribe. It means the world to me when you take a minute and subscribe. Share it with your friends if you find it helpful. And I will see you in the next video. All the best. Bye.